What's going on, Don't Unfriend Me Nation? Matthew Spear from the Don't Unfriend Me Show. Good to have you here. 1751. No, it's not episode 1751. It's episode 521. But in 1751, there was a wiry man named Benjamin Franklin. No, not Thomas Edison. And Benjamin Franklin didn't do the light bulb. He did the kite and the string thing, which is also questionable. We're not sure if he did that. But ultimately, people confuse Franklin and Edison. Edison was a totalitarian pig who stole ideas from other people, including Nikola Tesla. But anyway, we're not going to sit here and go into that. Benjamin Franklin, kite guy with key, lightning storm, and a glass bottle, whatever. The whole thing is, Benjamin Franklin wasn't just an inventor. He wasn't a satirist. He wasn't just a pragmatist who could write better than just about anyone around him. He was a cartoonist, and a political cartoonist at that, and a very good one. He created something called the Join or Die cartoon. It's a political cartoon that represents and signifies severed parts of a snake, a rattlesnake to be specific, on each piece of the snake to represent that if we are divided, we will fall. But if we are together, we will be a force against British tyrannical rule. The Join or Die flag, and ultimately, is something that I own and I love, and I think it's great, even though liberals think it's threatening. Well, it's not threatening. It's simply saying we either join together or we die. From this came the Gadsden flag. Gadsden was a gentleman in South Carolina, I believe, if I remember my history correctly. He was also a slave owner, and who wasn't back then? But the Gadsden flag was bred from a political cartoon also in the Philadelphia Gazette by Benjamin Franklin, which represented on a field of grass a rattlesnake. That rattlesnake was obviously reared up and ready to bite, and the words "Don't tread on me," hence the name of the flag, "Don't tread on me," was born. And it was simply saying, British rule and tyrannical rule, stop sending all of your convicted felons over to the United States. Don't tread on us and our sovereignty. Fairly simple. And then we know what happened after that, a fairly big conflict called the Revolutionary War. But there is an interesting thing now in 2023, how this is all being brought up again. And although this has been a place in history, it's on license plates and bumper stickers and tattoos and t-shirts. I have some for myself and for you for sale at thedumshow.com. If you want to stop by and get your own Gadsden shirt, you can. It's there. But this gentleman, Jaiden, 12 years old, who has several different patches on the backside of his backpack, including a "Don't Tread" patch, along with a St. Michael patch and a couple of archangels and things to that effect. Obviously, he's a very well-dressed, articulate kid, has been pulled out of class several times because supposedly children are finding the "Don't Tread" flag and it makes them uncomfortable, which is interesting. What are you teaching our children? There should be nothing uncomfortable about the Revolutionary War. It was an amazing time for our country and the birth of our nation, but alas, that's not the way it's spun anymore with the 1619 Project and alternate CRT teachings that we're seeing now. Here's the video. I want you to watch it, and I will do some commentary in the middle, and then we'll wrap up and tell you how the story finishes. Here it is.
Thank you. Do they know what the Gadsden flag is? That it's a historical...
Now, this is Jaiden, 12 years old, and his mom, also, which looks to be daughter in a carriage, maybe son, I'm not sure, but I can't tell by the feet, but I'm just making a guess. Video recording this, and I would recommend that if you have any interaction with the public schools, that I would recommend that you absolutely record it at this point. Get the consent of the person you're talking to, because stuff like this can happen. He was pulled out of class. Mom was in the local area, and she decided to stop by and have a conversation that it looks like little Jaiden has had with them several times before. You also looked at he's dressed. His father's probably military. How do I know this? Because he has military creases on the shirt. So whoever ironed the shirt is either A, mom, who's a homemaker, who irons her husband's shirt because he's an NCO and not an officer, and doesn't take it to the dry cleaner because there's no self-respecting soldier, airman, or sailor, or Coast Guards person, or Air Force person, or whatever else there is, space person in Space Force, who sends their uniforms into the dry cleaner. They iron them themselves, and you can see the military crease on the shirt. So this child has obviously been brought up into military culture, has understood what these flags mean and the significance to America, and has a lot of pride. This child should be celebrated for who he is. He is well-dressed, articulate, clean-cut, and he has no problem standing up for himself. That's my synopsis of the whole thing. Let's go ahead and listen and see what we can find out.
So the reason that they do not want the flag, the reason we do not want the flag displayed is due to its origins with slavery and
origins in, and at the same time, Revolutionary War, slavery. Wait a second. What? You said what? I have no idea what you're talking about.
Slave trade. That is what was, that's the reasoning behind why we do not want to slave.
The Gadsden flag.
The don't tread on me.
Okay.
That's the Gadsden flag, lady.
Which is the Gadsden flag. Okay.
Oh, okay, whatever. Semantics, lady. Semantics. Gadsden, non-Gadsden, tread. Who cares? Tread on me, tread on my pronouns, tread on j'em. Seriously, this is the problem, is this lady should immediately stop and say, okay, I don't know a lot about the flag. And I'm not the one who is ultimately making this final decision. I'm the one who has to present it to you. Here is the public school board. Here is their next meeting. Here are 3 people you can get in contact and their phone numbers. All I would like to do is, can we just hold off on the backpack for the next few days until you can talk to somebody and we can get this cleared up? Because I agree that you need to look into this and I have to do my job. It doesn't mean that I'm enjoying this. It doesn't mean I want to keep him out of class, but here are your options. Instead, it's remove the backpack or else and subtle innuendo.
Okay, so he
Jaiden's trying not to crack up right now. He's like, you're going to get my mom full force and you have no idea what you're going to deal with.
What's going to happen if he doesn't take it off?
He is able to go. I was actually just telling him, like, I was upset that he was missing so much school. I'm like,
Yeah, but you weren't upset with the 2 years that you locked him down and shoved him in front of a computer 8 hours a day and pretended that that was significant for social skills and actual learning of STEM. Right, because what? Subway had to go to work. Cops had to go to work. Nurses went to work. I went to work. But because you're a teacher who already has 3.5 months off a year, that you needed more time off because you felt unsafe. It's for the children. Yeah, right.
I asked if can he just take his stuff out of his bag and go back to class. Like, I just want him to go back to class. The bag can't go back if it's got the patch on it because we can't have that in and around other kids. So that's what I was trying.
Interesting. I wonder if they've ever pulled somebody out of class who has a BLM patch or a LGBTQ patch. My child has patches all over their backpack, sports teams, military patches, whatever. In no way, shape, or form has anyone confronted him. Why is it this particular patch? Well, because they're saying it's racist. But the EEOC and also the ACLU have said that it's not racist, that there was an actual case that was done against a postal worker who people complained and fired him because he had a Don't Tread flag. And they found that this was an American Revolution time period flag that was not associated with racism. And please understand, just because a flag's origin have been taken by other people and they have taken the meaning and twisted it to whatever they want, you don't get to define the flag. You don't get to define what the American flag is, the 13 stripes, the white, the red, the blue, the field of stars. All of these things have meaning, and they have been well defined long before you were born. You have no right to take that flag and make it what you will. For an example, if a collective society decides that a flag is no longer pertinent for people to display and use, I can give you an example of the Nazi flag. And if you use the flag in Germany and carry the flag in Germany, you will be arrested and subsequently it will be destroyed. It is a flag that's admonished in Germany. And the reason why is because it was once a flag that everyone rallied around with Adolf Hitler and the revolution of Germany becoming great again. Unfortunately, what happened there is 11 million people had to die for this to happen. That's an example of a meaning of a flag at one point had one and was changed over time based upon its history and what it was used for. The Don't Tread wasn't used for that. Yes, certain groups used it like the Klan, but also Greenpeace used it too when they felt that they were being stepped on by the government. Let's remember that this is a multifaceted issue and it doesn't take a singular problem like banning a 12-year-old from school and wearing it to solve it.
And then he said you were close, so I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah, it has nothing to do with slavery. That's like the Revolutionary War patch that was displayed when they were fighting the British. Like that's the revolution. Maybe you're thinking of like the Confederate patch.
Okay, ma'am, I'm finding your facts extremely offensive and you need to stop. I'm a teacher and we don't do that stuff here. All we do is do the prescribed narrative and you're going off base. We don't allow that type of talk here.
Okay, I am
Is there
just
history
here to
that
enforce.
you tell them?
No, I am here to enforce the policy that was provided by the district.
Cite the policy. Show me in black and white. Where is it written that patches aren't allowed in school and what content can be on patches and not? This is the problem. And we know what's going to happen. They're ultimately going to buckle. I'll tell you what happened afterwards, but they don't have a policy. And still, they will stand behind this nonsense because some teacher is offended and is an uppity granola who thinks they understand what the flag is and have absolutely no idea. So therefore, the best way to fix this problem is to censor and ban a child rather than have a conversation with the child and either educate them on your perspective or listen to theirs.
And definitely, you have every right to not agree with it. I mean,
Yeah, because the ACLU says that he's allowed to wear that. If you go on their website,
Yes, they do.
It's says in big letters.
All I'm saying is that
unless there's a ban on patches, period. Like you said, there's no patches allowed at the school. You cannot display what you think or anything.
There you go again with your facts.
Or anything like that. I think it's one-sided, because you allow some patches, but not other patches.
Kids have patches like other names and the American flag and backpacks.
Yeah. That
Look at the way she's looking at the kid. Listen, you little shit.
was during the revolution with, I just don't understand that at all.
So what I can do...
Listen, there is a way to handle this, and there's a way not to handle this. I got to say that the mother did a fantastic job. I've had that conversation with the schools, and you have to monitor the curriculum. You have to ask the school boards what they plan on teaching your children. You have to audit what is happening and what they're saying, because you have no idea what's getting into the kid's head today. I mean, when my daughter came to me and she started talking about cisgender and lesbianism at the age of 11 and 12, my jaw hit the floor. I was like, what are you talking about? And where the hell are you learning this? The job of teachers, it's not to teach children how to think, or what to think. It's to teach them how to use the tools that ultimately will benefit them through society the most. And it's not to program them. It's not to change their disposition. Parents talk about sex. Parents talk about religion. Parents talk about things in history that maybe we're not so proud of that need to be delicately explained. And the nuance is important. To have this universal Band-Aid approach to try to cure cancer is not going to happen. You're not going to stop racism by constantly talking about it and telling people they're racist. You're going to stop racism by simply stop talking about racism. Stop making it ever present in every part of society and telling children inherently that they are racist or they're misogynistic or transphobic simply because they have questions. Jaiden won. And what's interesting is there's a photo of the teacher that had their vehicle full of leftist ideology and tropes in regards to Greenpeace, in regards to Bernie Bros and everything else. And I'll show you that picture. And Jaiden's standing there with his backpack. He ultimately was allowed back in class, and he is allowed to have his patch. Millions flocked to his support and showed him that support, and they were proud of him. And I think it's awesome for Jaiden. This is unfortunately what happens when you have people who prescribe falsehoods in order to support a narrative that, of course, isn't accurate in any way, shape, or form. It just takes a second. I'm not saying the Gadsden flag hasn't been used for nefarious purposes. I'm not saying people haven't abused it. But what I'm saying is that doesn't change the meaning. Simply because you don't like something doesn't mean it shouldn't exist. Maybe you should start with the conversation and treat a 12-year-old who obviously is more mature, more articulate, and knows a hell of a lot more than these teachers. You may just learn something. Good for him. I'm proud of him. And I like to think that my children would do the same, but probably with a little less patience and decorum. Folks, thanks for watching the Don't Unfriend Me Show. If you liked what you saw tonight, please come back. We are going to be live tomorrow night, Friday, and we'll have a recorded show for you tomorrow. You can stop by the DUM Show at thedumshow.com. Get some cool shirts, some hats, some coffee, all that stuff. 10% goes back to veterans. People ask if I make a lot of money off that stuff. Yeah, if you consider a lot of money, a couple dollars per shirt or a coffee mug. Other than that, you can go to the Don't Unfriend Me store at thedumshow.com and follow me at The DUM Show across all social media. Thanks so much, folks. I appreciate you. God bless. I will see you tomorrow with a new show. Take care of each other.
I'm David Boreanaz with the Cast of SEAL team, and we have an important message for returning vets.
We want you to know if you're struggling to cope, there's help and it's just a phone call away.
The Veterans Crisis Line is staffed with experienced professionals who know your struggles.
There's no greater sacrifice in service to our country. We're able to enjoy our freedoms because of it.
Your service is important, you are important.
For vets and their families, the Veterans Crisis Line is here to help 24 hours a day. Please call